Hi, and welcome to the online orientation. My name is Maddie Trumpeter, and I will be giving this to you today. All right, so first off, we're going to start at My USF. In My USF, there are a lot of tabs on here, but we're going to go through only a couple today. So Learning and Teaching Tools, this is where you're going to find Canvas, your degree works. You can schedule advisor appointments here, so you can meet with your advisor, and you don't have to go inside the advising office and go in there, so you can come online and do this here. This is where you'll also find library services, where you can go online and see where all of the lovely services for there are good resources for research or any purposes like that. You can go there or just go to the library website. And we're also going to look at My Resources, which covers OASIS. You can look at the academic calendar that we have for the 2018-19 year, whatever year you've got, and you can see that and see all the events we have going on, what's just happening on campus. You can also see housing if you live on campus. You can also go to Handshake and find a job. But now we're going to go through Canvas, and I'm going to take you through what Canvas looks like, how you can navigate Canvas, so what are all the tabs on Canvas, and we're just going to look at that right now. All right, so first when you pull it up, it's going to look like this on your dashboard. As you can see on the right-hand side, there are to-dos. I've got a couple on here that I need to complete, but you can also go down. You can see recent feedback. As you can see, I did get a couple of great grades, and it's really nice that you can see what your professor said to you, or you can see what grades you got on something like a test or a quiz or extra credit at all, and you can see that. So we're going to go through one of my classes. It's called Music and Culture. Now this class, it's basically a writing class. We go through music and things like that, and we look at how it pertains to our world. But for music and culture, we're going to look at all the tabs that we've got for the class. So as you can see, there are many tabs on here, but we're just going to go through a couple. So home, sometimes your professor will put their syllabus on the home, and you can see that, and so you don't have to download any documents. You can just see that here, but sometimes you will have to go through a syllabus tab or go through pages or files if your teacher has that. On the side as well, it has the to-dos. As you can see, I don't have a lot going on, but I do have some things that I need to do. But you can see that on there and also see the recent feedback as well. And so now we're going to go to announcements. Announcements is where your professor will talk to you about anything that's going on. As you can see, my professor emailed us about what we have. We have a retake for a quiz, or they'll just be talking about our midterm is due, things like that. That's how your professor will talk to you and let you know things that are going on in the class, and just let you know what's happening. And so we're going to go to assignments now. Now in assignments, you can see show by date or show by type. Show by date just says when the next thing is due. So as you can see, I have a discussion due this Sunday, and I have to do that. And then I've got a bunch of other stuff. So I have my final exam due, and it's just going to show you what's all due. But if you go down here, you can see undated assignments, past assignments that you've done, and just really great stuff that will help you know when my assignments were due, when I did them, and you can just go back and see that. And also, if you go show by type, it'll go reading assignments or discussions. There's going to be essays, presentations, but I just like going show by date because it's easier, because I can put that in my calendar. All right, so sometimes your professors will include a discussion with your classes, so my professor does. My professor puts discussions on here so we can talk with our classmates, discuss anything that's going on, so discuss music and war, music and politics, or, specific classes. There could be discussion about biology or things like that, just whatever. Sometimes you won't have any discussions at all, but for my professor, she does. All right, and so for grades, this is where you're going to find your grade for the class. As you can see, I have a 95, and you can also see how assignments are weighted, and you can see each one. So my discussions are worth 25, both of my essays are worth 25, and it all equals out to 100. Now on here you can see all the discussions, all of the essays that were due and things like that. You can also see the score you got out of them, and one cool thing that I really like is that you can do a what if score. So I have another essay coming up. So I have essay 2 coming up, and I have a 95. So I'm going to see what it's going to take for me to keep a 90 in that class. So if I get a 40 out of 70, I can see that. I put that in, and I have to go back up here. It's actually going to put me down to an 83. So what I want to go back and do is I want to change that again. So I'm going to change it to a 55 out of 70 and see what that gives me. All right, so 55 out of 70 is going to give me an 89. So if you're wondering what, for your classes, what you need to get that score that you need, because some classes, they require a C or above to pass the class, or it's really cool that you can go in here and you can check out your scores, especially if your professors put your assignments in order and in advance. You can see, you can check each one and see what you can get. So if I get, say, a 20 out of here, I get 10 out of here. Listening exam, I get a 16, and for the final exam, I get a 60. If I put all of that in, it's going to bring me up to a 98. So you can see that, and you can really play around with your grades, and, you know, I need this grade, I need this percentage on this assignment to get this grade. It's really cool because if you don't have a lot of time for your work, you can, you know, make sure that you can put that in. It's really cool, and definitely I recommend checking it out and just playing around with it. And sometimes it's really cool to just see your grade go up for a bit. All right, and so for people tab, this is where you're going to find all of the people in your class. So if we go in there, you can just check it out. If you know any people, you can see that as well. And also you can check out your professor, and you can search people and their roles if you have a TA or things like that. In pages, sometimes your professor will put like the syllabus as well. Like, so my professor put her syllabus on here, but sometimes the professor will put reading assignments, pages that they want you to look at, like websites they need you to look at, things for the class. Maybe they'll put like a web, PDF for a book, just things like that. That's where it's going to be pages. You're going to find them. And then I don't have this tab on here, but there's a tab called files. And a lot of times your professor will put all of the files that you need for a class. So assignments that you need to do, or things that are due for the class and you need this specific item for it, your teacher will put that on there so you can access it and don't have to ask them about it. So for the syllabus tab, this is obviously where you're going to find your syllabus, but for my professor, she puts it on home and pages as well, so I don't really have to go on the syllabus tab. And for quizzes, sometimes your professor will put all of the quizzes on here, so you can see I had a syllabus quiz, my midterm, and my final. For modules, you're going to find all of the PDFs that I've got due, the book that I have, PowerPoints that we went through in class, study guides for the final exams, midterms, any concert links that we had to go to, and just listening guides, things like that. This is where your professor is going to put up the modules so you can see what's going on the class. And many times your professor will put modules on there for each class that you have. So especially if it's a one class a week class, they'll put each section on there for what you're going to learn through in that class. So it's really nice if you can't make it to the class, you can still see what's going on. For conferences and collaborations, you really don't need these tabs unless your professor wants you to collaborate and you're in an online class. So for collaborations, this is not an online class, but she does have collaborations on here. You can start your collaborations, you could Google Docs, you can also do it Google Drive and Office 365. You can name your document and I can add people on here, I can just drag them. It's really cool system, and especially if you're an online class or you're on strictly online, it's really cool so you can talk with your other students, you can collaborate on assignments, or you can just help each other out if you're in a group together. USF course evaluations, this is where you're going to evaluate your professors. I don't have any evaluations going on right now. I will at the end of the semester, but not currently. Library resources, it's just where you're going to find a bunch of resources for music and how to talk to professors, so you can, or the librarians at the library, you can look at the Pointer library chat, you can talk to them. If I want to say, hey, I'm not sure what to look up, can you help me with this? They'll guide you along the way and help you understand how to research. So this is research help. These are the librarians in the lovely library, and they will get you settled if you ever need any help. And secure exam proctor, if you have to use Proctorio, this is where you're going to go for it. Your professor will put this tab on Canvas if they need you to use Proctorio, especially if you're taking online exams. This is where you're going to find how to set it up. As you can see, it gives you clear instructions. You can set it up and then have it. It's very easy, it's very nice, and it just monitors your computer so they know you're not cheating or anything like that. All right, and these two, Fully Discover, is just about our bookstore and how you can go to their website. It'll take you right there and how you can search for books. And the final exam matrix, it's mostly just about when final exams are due, but this is for the Tampa campus and we are at St. Pete. You can go to the academic calendar as we saw in my USF, and we can look at when St. Pete exams, this exam blocks are going on. All right, so we're going to go back to the left-hand dashboard right here. As you can see, groups. I do have two groups. I did have one group last semester, and I had a group that I had to create an assignment with. This is where you're going to find, especially if you're online, you're going to find your groups so you can research with them or do anything like presentations, and you can look with them and just collaborate together. And this is another way you can collaborate with your groups. And many times your professor will already put the groups on Canvas, so you don't have to create one yourself, and so you can use Canvas for that. Calendar is really important because this is where you're going to find a lot of the dates, assignments that are due. So as you can see, I have a lot due. But it's really nice because when I finish them, it'll cross it off so I don't have to do it again. So I did my attendance, I did my discussion, and I did another attendance. I did an extra credit for my class. So this is where you're just going to look and see when anything's due. And it's really cool because you can sync it up with your calendar. It's nice because you can go ahead and add an event. You can my to do, you can add to do for any date. It's really nice and really easy, and it's super fun for people to just play around with, like put an assignment here, there, and just type like test due and then create it and submit, and you just put that right there. It's really nice and really easy, and it's super cool to look at. You can print it off and keep it with you, or you can just write it in your account, if you have a planner or anything like that, so you can use it and you don't always have to go back here to calendar, but you know that it's here for you. All right, so inbox is important as well. This is where you're going to get messages from your professors. So one of my professors emailed me about correct answers. My classmate emailed us about our professor. This is where your professors and your classmates can get in touch with each other, especially if you don't have each other's numbers. You can email them directly without having their email, and it will send to their USF email. So it's nice because even though you're not sending it through email, they will get it through there, and you will get emails about Canvas. It will send you emails that your professor messaged you on the inbox, and you can go in here and look, or you can just read it on your email, and it's really nice. It's great. It's a great system. So definitely check it out and look at that.